Hi, this is Lisa. Today we're going to be going through a shoulder and hip opening sequence. This is a sequence that I recommend towards the end of a workout, more like a cool down. So whatever your workout is, whether it's a run or an athletic event, I recommend doing afterwards. Just to open up the hips, open through the chest and the shoulders, and really get a nice cool down in. So we're going to begin starting at the front of the mat. So you'll take your feet, separate them hips-width distance apart. You can inhale your arms high if you'd like, ground through your feet, get tall. And then from here you're going to bend at your knees and fold at your hips, bringing your chest towards your thighs. From here you're going to take opposite hand and grasp opposite elbow and just hang yourself heavy. This is your ragdoll forward fold. So from here the ideal goal is to bring the chest close to the thighs. And to do so, if you need to widen your stance, you can. And if you need to bend in your knees, you can do so as well. Make sure that you hang your head nice and heavy and allow your spine to lengthen. Letting gravity do the work here, you might sway side to side. You're loosening the muscles in the backs of your legs, all the way up through the spine and into the neck. Make sure you're breathing nice and heavy here so that your back body expands as you inhale and it folds a little deeper as you exhale. This is a pose you can hold for as long as you feel comfortable. It's nothing but beneficial for you. And when you're ready to come out of it, you'll place your hands onto the earth or maybe your shins. And then inhale yourself up to standing using your core. From here, inhale your arms high for another stretch, and then bring them behind your low spine. As you inhale, reach down through your palms and open up your chest towards the ceiling. And then again, bend at your knees, fold forward. Reach your bound hands toward the ceiling, and you'll get a shoulder stretch here. So same concept, you're folding over your legs, bringing your chest towards your thighs, keeping your hands interlaced, reaching them behind you as far as they'll go. Just hang heavy here, and again, you can hold this pose as long as you feel comfortable. Again, as you inhale, you lift through your back. And then as you exhale, you fold a little bit deeper. And then once you're ready to come out of the pose, you can release your hands to the mat. You'll step back to a tabletop pose, hands and knees. Okay. So once you hit the mat, you'll come to tabletop pose, which is hands and knees. Knees will be underneath your hips and your hands will be underneath your shoulders, and we'll start with 3 cat-cow tilts. So as you inhale, you'll drop the belly, lift the tail, and your gaze comes forward. And then as you exhale, you ground through hands and knees, and the middle of your spine reaches towards the ceiling as you drop your head. Twice more, breathe in and out. Last time, inhale and exhale. Once you're done, you'll come to a neutral tabletop and we'll thread the needle to stretch out the mid-spine. So starting with the right side, you'll inhale your right arm high, grounding through the left hand. And then as you exhale, thread the right hand underneath the left arm, place the shoulder down, and walk your left hand forward. You can ground through the left hand to spin you a little bit deeper, feeling a stretch in the space in between your shoulder blades. Take one more breath here, and then bring it back to neutral. And then you'll take the other side. Inhaling the left arm nice and high. And then as you exhale, thread the left hand underneath the right arm. Gently place the shoulder down and walk the right hand forward. Ground through the right palm to spin you a little deeper. Breathe into that space in between your shoulder blades. Stretch it out a little bit more. And then return to neutral. So once you return to a neutral spine, we're going to come into a reverse child's pose. So you'll come back onto your heels. Your knees and thighs will be parallel to one another. And I like to move my feet outside my glutes, so my bum sinks in between my feet. And this might be plenty for you here. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you can place your hands behind you and start to lean back. And this is a nice pose because you can track your own progression. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you just continue to move yourself further back. Eventually, if you'd like, you can come down to your forearms and relax your head back. And here, you'll feel a stretch all along the front side of your body, on the tops of your thighs, your hip flexors, through your belly, and across your chest. You can inhale to lift your belly nice and high. Breathe big through your belly. And then as you exhale, watch your belly contract. And then when you're ready to come out of the pose, you'll just re-ground through your hands very gently and lift up to become back on your heels. So as a counter pose, we'll take regular child's pose, separating the knees, mats width distance apart, and then bringing your toes to touch behind you. You'll press your hips back over your feet, and then reach your hands forward and rest your forehead on the mat. So here you're stretching in your hips. You're stretching all across your shoulders and your arms. You can walk your fingertips further forward for a deeper stretch. And just breathe here to let yourself sink a little bit deeper into the pose. And then when you're ready to come out of the pose, you'll inhale to lift yourself back up to tabletop. So from here, we're going to move into downward dog. You'll ensure that your hands are shoulder width distance apart and you're grounding through them firmly. And then you're going to tuck your toes under behind you, lift your hips, and press back. So in your downward dog, you're going to want to start by walking out your legs and pedaling them, giving them a little bit of space. You might wag your hips side to side with this as well, really warming them up, allowing them to stretch out. And then when you're ready and you think that you're comfortable to find a still downward dog, you'll come to stillness. So the alignment here is feet are hips width distance, hands are shoulder width distance, and then it's like someone's placing a ball in between your shoulder blades and you're squeezing it, and that presses your chest back towards your thighs. If you're a little bit tighter, you might be closer to here. And to aid with your progression in downward dog, put more of a bend in your knees to allow yourself to press back a little bit further. So from your downward dog, this is a good pose to hold to build shoulder strength. And you'll find that the more that you practice yoga and the more that you hold downward dog, the more strength you'll have in your shoulders. And so if you want to gain a little bit more and not stay still in your down dog, you can inhale and come forward to your high push-up. And as you hold in your high push-up, your core is engaged, you're pressing out of your shoulders, your thighs are wrapping around your leg bones. And then as you next exhale, you'll just lift your hips, press back, downward dog. You can take that for another 2 rounds by inhaling forward and exhaling back, using your core to engage you both ways. Breathe in, come forward. Breathe out, come back. So depending on how comfortable you are with this, you can take any additional rounds that you'd like. So once you're completed, we're going to move to a low runner's lunge. So you'll step your right foot forward in between your hands. From here, you might wiggle your left foot back a little bit further and then lower the left knee and uncurl the left toes. So from here, the alignment in the right foot is going to be right knee over right ankle, and then you'll inhale your hands to your hips. So you might be just in plenty of a stretch right here. If you can move a little bit further back in the left leg, you can do so. This is also another pose where you can watch the progression of the pose over time. But once you've found a comfortable place, you'll find a nice hip flexor stretch in the front of the left leg. Once you're there and you're ready to move forward, you'll keep your right hand at your right hip and inhale your left arm straight up in the air. So this in itself is giving a deeper stretch to the left hip flexor. And when you're ready to move a little bit deeper, as you inhale, you'll reach the left arm straight up in the air, stretching through the left side body, all the way through the left hip flexor and down the left thigh. Just make sure that you're still relaxing your shoulders down your back. You can look up to the ceiling if you'd like and if you have the balance. And then just breathe into that stretch into your front leg. Your body's natural reaction might be to contract in that space, so you need to consciously be aware of that and be able to release in your hip space. When you've had enough, when you're reaching your threshold here, you'll bring your left hand down inside your right foot. Take your right hand inside your right foot. We're moving to lizard lunge. So with your right foot, you're going to walk it out to the right side of the mat. You'll aim it diagonally to the right and then tilt it to the pinky side edge of the foot. So this again might be plenty for you here. If this is too much too soon, you can place a block down and bring your hands to a block. But again, this is just another deep stretch here in the left hip, but also in the outside of the right hip. So just like I said earlier, the body's natural reaction might be to tense up in the hip and contract. You have to be aware of it and allow it to relax. So progression with this pose is very similar. You can monitor it throughout your practice. Once you can move through and have your hands down to the mat, the next step might be to go a little bit deeper, walk your hands out a little bit deeper. So this is over weeks of practice and weeks of progression. The next step would be to come down to the forearms. And then once you've gotten this low, you really want to go ahead and relax the head and the neck. So once you're done with this, I would stay for about 5 to 10 breaths. It will get to a point of discomfort and you have to breathe through it. Focus on your breath in and out through your nose. Once you've completed, you'll come back to your hands. And then the best way to come out of this pose is to ground through the right foot and move your left knee forward. You can step back to your tabletop pose, curl the toes, lift the hips. You're in downward dog once again. So we'll have to even out sides. You'll step the left foot forward in between the hands. And then from here you'll lower through the back knee. So again, from here you'll have to make adjustments based upon the tightness in your hips. So if you need to move the knee forward or back, do so. Just ensure the left knee is over the left ankle, and then bring your hands to your hips. With your shoulders still relaxed, you'll keep your left hand at your left hip and inhale your right arm straight up into the air. So here again, you'll feel a stretch through the right hip flexor along the right side of the body. And then as you inhale, you're going to reach the right arm nice and tall, straight up, keeping the shoulders drawn away from the ears. And then again, really relaxing through the hip flexor, allowing your body to fall a little bit deeper into the pose. Take another breath in. And then once you're done, you'll bring the right hand down to the mat inside the left foot. The left hand will come inside the left foot, and you'll walk the left foot out to the left. Spin it to the pinky side edge. And again, most likely you'll take a very similar variation on both sides. So if you used a block on the other side, you might use a block on this side as well. And again, if all this is too much, you might need to move the back knee forward. And from here, you're going to be getting a stretch not only along the right hip flexor, but also outside the left hip here. And the progression is the same here. So you might move the block out of the way, utilize the floor, and then you might walk your palms forward and eventually come down to your forearms. Your head relaxes, and then you just use your breath to be able to release the muscles in your hip flexor and in your outer left hip. Let yourself sink deeper into this pose. Make sure that you take both sides evenly, so you'd stay here for another 10 breaths. Once you've completed those 10 breaths, you'll ground through your hands again, stamp your left foot down, and bring your right knee in closer to your body. Step yourself back to tabletop pose. From tabletop, you'll curl your toes under, lift your hips, and press back to downward dog. So once you make your way onto your belly, you'll place yourself into Sphinx pose. So elbows are underneath shoulders, and then forearms are on the earth out in front of you, and your palms are grounding through the earth. So you're going to ground through your hands and your forearms and pull your chest through your arms. This is warming in the low back a little bit and opening across the shoulders. Make sure your shoulders are drawing down your back and away from your ears. And take 3 breaths here as you open up gently across the chest. And then once you're done, we're going to come into a side body twist. So with your left leg, you'll bring your knee outside you and your foot inside your right leg, anywhere that it goes, anywhere that works for you. From here, you're going to take your right hand and thread the needle just like we did earlier. From here, you're going to open up your left arm to the ceiling and let it fall behind you any amount. Make sure that your head is relaxing on the earth. If it doesn't make it, you can use a block underneath it. But this whole stretch here is opening up across your front shoulder, all across your body into your hips. I would stay here for 5 breaths. Just breathe in and out. You'll find as you exhale, you open up a little bit deeper. And then once you're done, you'll come back through to center. Gently come back to a neutral Sphinx pose. And then you'll take the other side by bringing the right knee out, the right foot anywhere inside the left leg. Drawing the shoulders away from the ears, you'll take the left hand, thread the needle under your right arm, open up the right hand to the ceiling, and then let the right arm fall back any amount. So this pose is great because you can do this when you're warm, you can do this when you're cold, you can do this first thing in the morning or at the end of the day. It's good to open up the whole body and awaken all of the muscles, particularly in the shoulders and across the chest. After your 5 breaths here, you'll return back through to center, to your Sphinx pose. From Sphinx, you're going to lay all the way down onto your chest. Bring your arms out to a T. With your left hand, you're going to walk it a little bit above your shoulder. And then with your right hand, you'll tent your fingertips. Now, once you tent those fingertips, you're going to give yourself a little push and roll to the side. You'll see I took my right foot and stepped it over my left leg. And then you'll reach your right arm nice and high. So from here, this is a very deep stretch in the left shoulder. You're going to allow your right arm to fall back any amount. Relax your head. And just breathe into the left shoulder space. Your body weight here is opening up across your left shoulder, bringing space into your chest. So just continue to breathe to allow that space to be welcome. After about 5 to 10 breaths, bring this back through to center. And then you'll take the other side. So right hand is out like a T and it walks a little bit above the right shoulder. Left fingertips tent. And then you begin to roll yourself over the right shoulder, stepping the left foot over the right leg. Your left arm comes nice and high, and then allow it to fall back any amount. So the stretch on this side is on the right shoulder. And from here, just breathe into the space. Allow the breath to do the work. You'll find discomfort after a few breaths, and that's normal. Just breathe through it for about 10 breaths to continue opening across the chest and shoulder. Once you've completed your 10 breaths, slowly bring the left arm back around and come back onto your belly. So once you've made your way onto your back, you'll set yourself up for a bridge pose by walking your feet towards your glutes. Your fingertips should be able to graze your heels. And so once you're there, you're going to ground through your feet and lift your hips up for bridge pose. So from here, you're going to take your hands and you'll interlace them at your low spine. And then you're going to walk your shoulders underneath your back. So you're stretching across your shoulders and across your chest and the front side of your body. But you're also stretching through the hip flexors as you reach your belly towards the ceiling. Notice that there's no connection between my neck and the earth, so there should be a space there. You can close your eyes if you'd like. And you'll hold this pose for at least 3 to 5 breaths. And if you'd like, you can take it more than once. You can take it 2 or 3 times. It's good to stretch across your front side body and then stretch across your chest. When you're done, you're going to release your hands and then slowly lower yourself down to the mat. From here, we'll take a counter pose, bringing the soles of the feet together and letting the knees splay out wide. It's nice to close the eyes here. You can bring your hands to your hips. Make sure that your shoulders are relaxing onto the mat. Allow your hips to release and your knees to fall a little bit deeper away from one another. Take about 5 total breaths here. And then once you're done, you'll open your eyes. Take your hands to the outside edges of your thighs and then help them close like a book. From here, we're going to come into a supported fish pose. So your legs will extend along the mat and you'll need your block here. So you'll take the block, you'll take it on the lowest level. You're going to place it on your back, and it's going to be on the lowest level. As you lean back, the top of the block should hit the top of your shoulders. Your head will fall back, and your arms will lie alongside your rib cage, palms face up. So you're stretching across the front side body here, opening through the chest. It's a very relaxed pose, so you want to ensure that your head has something to rest on. If you need a towel to put under your head, you can do so. Just breathe here, allowing your chest to open. Ensuring that you're relaxing in your pec muscles, in your shoulders. Ensure there's no tension there. Stay here for about 5 to 10 breaths. And then when you're ready, start to ground through your hands to help you lift up. You'll move the block out of the way, and then we'll take figure 4 at the wall. So you're going to bring your glutes towards the wall. And then place your feet flat onto the wall. So you should have a 90-degree angle in your legs. And then from here, you're going to take your right ankle and cross it over your left knee. So the good thing about having the wall here is you can feel on your back your hips and how square they are. If you feel one hip lifting, you'll have to bring it back down. Keep a flexed foot in the right foot to protect your knee. And then very gently, you can take your right hand to your right knee and press it away from you. This is where you might need to bring awareness to your hips and make sure that they're staying square. This is a pose I recommend taking for at least 10 breaths. You might even take it twice on both sides and separate it, maybe 7 breaths on each side and 2 rounds of it. And then once you're done, you'll just simply switch sides, placing the right foot back onto the wall, taking the left foot across your right knee. Again, keeping the foot flexed, and then gently pressing the left knee away. Keeping awareness at your hips and ensuring that they're square. Make sure that you're relaxing through the rest of your body here, so your shoulders are relaxed, drawing away from your ears. Your low back is relaxing towards the earth. If you've chosen to take another round, you can do so. Otherwise, you can finish the series by taking a very simple inversion. You're just going to move your glutes all the way to the wall. Place your feet up the wall